You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rodrance for Black and White Live. Well, there's certain things that just make too much sense. Like the Texans last year hiring a coach that had, assistant coaching experience but was on nobody's radar. And then there was a rumor last week that the Texans were seriously hoping and praying that somebody would interview Josh McCown for the head coaching job because, frankly, they wanted to hire him. Now, I absolutely don't agree with the fact that Brian Flores has decided to file a lawsuit against the NFL over head coaching, being passed on head coaching jobs and or getting fired because of his race. I think that's ludicrous. But there is part of me that believes one of the things that may have secretly set him off was him having interviewed with the Texans and then hearing Josh McCown, somebody with no coaching experience on a collegiate and or NFL level, might be getting that job over him, particularly when you consider the fact that Flores has got direct connections to a bunch of people in the Texans organization by way of his former Patriots connections. Nick Caserio is the GM in Houston. And it makes you wonder, was Flores pissed when that report come out? Well, because I got to be honest with you. The immediate line I drew when Flores got fired was directly to the Houston Texans. I thought, okay, well, the Texans have issues down there. Davis Mills looks promising. And even if they didn't want to stay with Davis Mills, they could hire Brian Flores and trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, and then they've got a competitive team in that division. Well, then the Josh McCown rumor started, and it was like, what is going on in Houston? You're hearing word, the fact that Nick Caserio was pulling the strings up in the box in real time, down to David Culley through the headset? Are you shitting me? And let's face it, I don't see Brian Flores condoning or being okay with that. Who the hell would as a head coach? Now the Texans have come out and they're saying Brian Flores is still a finalist for their job, and I wouldn't touch this dude with a 500-foot pole. There's no way, now that he is trying to hang other franchises for being racist when, frankly, his complaints seem like just that, just complaints. Things that don't seem to have anything to do with race or any ties to race. But here he is, nonetheless, dysfunctional franchise. The Texans reportedly regard Brian Flores as a finalist for their head coaching gig. Except you got to wonder, are they too scared now to cross him off the list? I mean, this is the thing. Now, if you get hired, you don't know if it's because of your coaching acumen or somebody got scared into hiring you at this point. It's kind of ridiculous the way this is all played out. The Texans still have a head coaching vacancy, and they're getting the word out that they're still considering former Dolphins coach Brian Flores as a serious candidate for the job. Per multiple reports, 3 finalists are Flores, Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon. Why is this guy a head coaching finalist? And former NFL quarterback Josh McCown. Why is that guy a head coaching finalist? I mean, that franchise is so freaking weird at this point. I don't even know how to... Look, when Bill O'Brien looks like a stable head coach, not a stable general manager, but a stable head coach, something is really, really wrong. The Texans have no choice but to regard him as a finalist. Brian Flores, that is. If he were immediately dropped from consideration after filing his lawsuit, that would become immediate and persuasive evidence of retaliation. Oh, man. While many seem to think it's appropriate for a company to blackball someone who dares to exercise their legal rights arising, it's not. It becomes a separate violation of the person's rights. And so Flores will continue to be offered interviews and regarded as a finalist for head coaching jobs. Will one of the American oligarchs who own various NFL teams, ultimately offered the job to someone who has filed a landmark litigation against the entire league. Texans owner Kyle McNair, can shrug and say to himself, someone else will, and then someone else will shrug and say, someone else will. If it sounds a lot like the individual owners regarding minority coaching candidates, it should. It's the same mindset. I don't want to do it. Someone else will. I don't believe that for a second, Mike Florio. Not a second. So, yes, the Texans will consider Flores. They have to. Will they hire him? They should. But they should have hired him before the filed suit when it appeared they were preparing to hire Josh McCown. Now, look, prior to this lawsuit coming out, I would have agreed with that statement right there. The Texans should have hired Flores. Now, not a chance in the pit of hell would I hire that guy. Winner in all of this could be Gannon. While the Texans can try to plausibly defend not hiring Flores, it becomes much more difficult to hire a white candidate with no coaching college experience or pro football in any capacity when one of the other viable candidates is Flores. Gannon would be an internal compromise candidate. We'll see what happens. As the saying goes, dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional things. The Texans have been rife with dysfunction since Kyle climbed into the captain's chair. They'd be helping themselves and the rest of the league if they hire Flores. Yeah, except, look at this. Brian Flores says, as I try to get this to scroll up, Flores says he won't drop the lawsuit even if hired as a coach. Good God. Brian Flores says his lawsuit against the NFL over alleged racist hiring practices will continue even if he becomes a head coach again in the offseason. I'm not going to go into this, but it's just insane. We still don't count on it happening. The NFL's initial statement regarding his lawsuit essentially paints him as a liar. The statement issued by Dolphins owner Stephen Ross regarding the alleged $100,000 per 2019 loss makes an even stronger assault on character and credibility of Flores. Besides, it's not as if hiring him will make the case go away. He said he's already not dropping it. While we hope, for the sake of Texans fans, that Houston hires him, the more likely outcome will be the NFL fights Flores aggressively, and that the NFL eventually will offer him a settlement that includes an agreement for he will not seek nor accept any employment in the future with the NFL. So that's the other thing. If they settle with him, his ass sure ain't going back to work in the NFL. He could go to college. He could go to college at this point. But how many big-name universities are going to touch this guy now? I mean, that's the thing. So we hire you, and if you don't perform and we fire you, you sue us? F you, dude. F you. Why? Because coaches of all colors get fired if they don't perform. That has always been a thing, by the way. Wow. I still can't believe he filed this lawsuit. I mean, when he got fired by the Dolphins, he was my number one immediate contender for the next head coaching job somewhere. He was. I thought he was a hell of a coach. He's 24 and 25, yes, overall. I get it, to whoever keeps putting that in the comments. But he has shown very, very strong stretches, including 8 of 9 to close out the season, 10 and 6 the year before. Yeah, this guy can coach. He can. I still can't figure out why he did this. I don't give a shit if every person in the Broncos facility was drunker than Cooter Brown the night before Flores' interview. If they showed up the next day to conduct the interview, yeah, it can be your opinion that they look like they tied one off the night before, but that's not got a damn thing to do with your skin color. It's got to do with the fact that maybe they don't have their shit together going into that one particular interview. Blow their socks off and make them hire you. You didn't, so they didn't. It's that simple. My God. This is crazy. This would be the most Texans thing ever if they swoop in and actually hire Flores at this point. And imagine that. Flores has now bent a team over the barrel, and they can't pull him from consideration because of the lawsuit. And in a way, they can't hire him because of the lawsuit. I mean, he screwed himself as far as being a head coach, I would assume. You never know with Houston. I do wonder if Josh McCown would be a good head coach even with no coaching experience. I know that sounds crazy, but all the people that have ever worked around him love Josh McCown. You never know. You got to know situational football. If he knew how to delegate, brought in a couple of former ex-head coaches to be coordinators, maybe it could work. I don't know. The Texans are a mess. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.